Hello, everyone. Welcome to DEI, a podcast dedicated to discussing and raising awareness on the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion. My name is Kara, and we're thrilled today to have Mark Leschinsky with us. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes, it is. Hi, Kara. It's nice to be here with you today.
Yep, a quick snapshot of Mark. He is the founder of Student World Impact Film Festival, which elevates the voices of young storytellers for underserved communities. Mark has been on The Tonight Show, got a special award winner in the 2022 My Impact Challenge as a sophomore. More recently, he won the 2023 Prudential Emerging Visionaries winner. Mark, we thank you so much for being here today and your commitment to improving the lives of others through your projects. So excited to have you for DEI's first ever interview. So let's start with telling us a little bit about yourself. How did you become interested in film?
Yeah, well, first, Kara, I wanted to thank you very much for the warm introduction and for being on the podcast. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to be here today, and I'm excited to speak with you. So initially, starting the film festival and getting into film, ever since I was young, I always loved making movies and being an artist and being creative and seeing what I could do with creativity. And I found that, I like making films and I wanted to showcase them with other people as well. And so I looked for film festivals online and places where I can showcase the films and have them shared with the community. And I found that film festivals in general as an industry are pretty expensive because they have submission fees. And so like each film festival, the submission fee can be $10, $20, $50. It could be even up to $100, for one festival. And when you're a student filmmaker and you have limited resources and you're just trying to get your work out there and to grow in the industry, and to be an artist, it's really difficult to be faced with these submission fees, which are very expensive and which are pretty, widespread among the festival industry. There are very few festivals that are student catered or free for students. And so I attended a couple of festivals which were free, but I found that they were very limited in number of those. And meeting students at those festivals also voiced concerns that, there are not enough places to get student work out there and to be an accessible platform for all young filmmakers. And so I started the Student World Impact Film Festival as a free film festival for all student filmmakers with the mission to help marginalized voices and to empower youth across the world who wanted to share their voices with the world. So it's been an exciting journey so far.
That's so interesting. And as SWIFF, I saw it raises like 100,000 or more for like those underserved communities. What were some challenges you faced along the way when establishing SWIFF?
Mhm. Yeah, I think that there have been a number of challenges along the way. Growing an organization, has its bumps in the road. I think the biggest one for me was when I launched SWIFF. I put it on Film Freeway on an online platform where film festivals are present and filmmakers can find those festivals. And so the first challenge for me was getting it on there. And then once I did, and made all the branding and all the copy and descriptions and the website and everything. That was not that difficult. It took some time, but I was able to do it. But the difficult part was actually the immense amount of interest from a lot of students. So it's actually a great thing. There was like a very large amount of interest from students around the world in the film festival. But I found that very quickly, like within the first week of publishing the festival, 1,000 people submitted their films. So it grew very, very quickly, and it was really exciting. But it was kind of like that position where you have so much growth, but you have to learn how to adapt to that growth and how to accommodate all of that. So I quickly figured out getting a team together and getting people who are going to be involved in helping judge movies and helping volunteer to make the festival grow even more. And then from there. It really expanded continuously, and it was really exciting to see the growth continue to happen. But it was difficult to figure out what to do at that point because at first the idea of the festival was just like an idea that I had on my own. But I realized after that first week of 1,000 films, it really like was something beyond me now. It was like a movement that could be on a global scale and something that could be grown such that other people can be involved. There could be a team involved in helping to make the whole thing happen. So it was exciting to get that team together and to have everyone involved in making the festival expand even more and help even more students.
Wow, that's really impressive. So you say you have like 1,000 or more video submissions. So when you were judging the like film festival, what do you really think makes a film stand out among others, or like why you would choose it for Swift?
Yeah, sure. So at SWIFF, we really value diverse films. Like I personally and a lot of my team members share the same perspective that in the film industry, social impact film is one of the most powerful and moving type of narratives and video creations. So I think that films that help bring awareness to a certain topic, like climate justice or racial justice and different topics that are really important in our society, that all of our communities are facing and currently talking about. I think films that address those issues and tell important and diverse narratives are the most important types of films. And so at SWIFT, we welcome all different types of films and movies from around the world from students, and we have everyone, but we really like to especially focus on those social impact types of films. And so all the judges, we share the value that having films that tell a diverse narrative or open up a new type of story that we haven't heard before are really exciting for us, and we love to showcase those types of movies.
Right, right. I'm also like writing a speech right now on culture diversity, and one like solution I was focusing on is storytelling, and I think that really goes hand in hand with film. And you created your first film at age 11, The Lighthouse. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, sure. Looks like you did research on this. So I love making movies since I was young. The first movie I made was called The Lighthouse. And this film was kind of like a metaphor. The reason I called it The Lighthouse was because it was about a teacher that I had who was inspiring for me and who helped a lot of his students. And he was kind of like a lighthouse which guides ships in the darkness to the correct direction, So he was kind of like a lighthouse for students. And he helped a lot of students, and he was really inspiring for me and my peers. And so I made a short documentary about him. It wasn't the best. It was when I was 11, but it was a starting point. I just remember, playing around with editing software and working with different effects and just seeing how the whole movie making process comes to light. And it was really exciting to work on that. And so the Lighthouse was really fortunate to have received some awards at festivals, which was very exciting for me because I had never experienced that before. But again, like I said at the beginning, it was only a few festivals I was able to attend that were actually free for students, and from that, I made more films, after that in the future, a couple more after that, and more, I just kept seeing how there was a need in the film festival industry for young filmmakers to be accessible, to have a festival that's accessible to everyone and that prioritizes marginalized voices. And so that's why later on I started SWIFT, but for a few years, I was going through the film festival circuit and meeting people and having a lot of fun doing that. So it's great.
Right. And when you first like started like exploring with features, did you have anybody to like teach you how to do it, or how do you really learn with it, like for your first film?
Yeah. I think that it was a lot of independent learning. One thing I recommend all the time is YouTube. So YouTube has like all kinds of stuff. Like you can really find anything. You can search up, how do I make this specific effect in Premiere Pro editing software, and how do I interlapse it in such a way that it looks like this, and the effect is this way that it's done. And so you can really look at a lot of specific details online, and you can just find tutorials and find people who share your passion for film and also for storytelling, who make tutorials and show you how to do things. So it was a lot of self-learning and independent study, but it was really exciting to do that. And now I'm fortunate to work with students at my high school, at Bergen Academies in New Jersey, who are also doing visual narratives and who are making movies, and we work together to make different things. So it's really exciting how that journey has developed from independent to now teamwork and working with other people.
Yes, definitely sounds impressive. Have you ever had to like capture like you're talking about like storytelling about like important issues like climate change or like war or inequities. Have you ever had to capture like those stories visually but like found it difficult to capture those features, like for example, a war scene or whatever?
Yeah. I think it's an interesting point. Me personally, for my films, I haven't done that. But at SWIFT and at the film festival, we see a lot of films which touch on those like really important narratives, but are also sometimes difficult to watch. And so we try to be careful with those because we want to make sure that it's, accessible for all the audiences to watch, and it's, available for all ages. So it's difficult to make those types of decisions, but I think that also those difficult topics like war, like you said, and other things that are important to speak about, but which could be difficult for some viewers, we have to be mindful of that and be cognizant of different age ranges and audiences, and trying to make it as accessible as possible for everyone. So we try to do our best at the festival to accommodate for that.
Right. And have you ever like incorporated your first gen Ukrainian identity into any of your films?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so I'm a first generation Ukrainian American. I'm proud of my heritage, and I'm excited to have that. And I think that it's something I reflect on a lot. In my personal films, I haven't yet been able to incorporate that. But I think that in everything that I do, I try to help other people, and I try to help people, see, the unique aspect of themselves, like in the world. It's like the recent film that I created, which was called Fitting In. It was about helping people see the diversity within themselves and the uniqueness of each individual person. And so I've incorporated it a little bit, but I haven't done something very direct yet. But I hope to do something in the future.
Interesting. And I also saw like you had a STEM experience in the past and being like a young innovator who earned a patent at the age of 10. How did you find your or shift your interest from like STEM to film, or would you say they're connected?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, definitely when I was younger, I always loved tinkering with things and playing around and taking stuff apart. Like at home, I actually, my dad, like he would give me stuff that was old or like that didn't really work that well anymore, that we didn't have a use for. And so before we donated it to people were in need of that, I like to take it apart and then put it all back together. So I would just take it apart and see like what all the components were and how everything worked. And I always was very excited about seeing all the different functioning aspects of a system. And so at the end, I would put it back together so we can donate it. But it was really exciting just to pick stuff apart and to see how it works. And so when I was younger, during the Ebola epidemic, I realized that healthcare workers were risking their lives on the front lines and were helping people in need, but their life was at stake. And so I thought it was a very, very noble thing of them to do, but they needed better protection and better equipment to keep themselves safe from the Ebola virus at the time. We were all very young at the time, and I mean, adults remember it more. But in 2014, it was quite a while ago. But it was a big problem. And so I created a new type of hazmat suit, which is self-disinfecting. So regular hazmat suits that are one-time use, they're disposable. They also pose a threat to the environment because you use it once and you throw it out, right? And so it's a lot of plastic that goes in the environment and pollution. And so it's also not as effective for keeping the person safe. It works to an extent, but it could be improved. So I created a design which held disinfectant like bleach or any household material or household disinfectant. And it held that in different pockets inside the suit, and it could release it to the outside so it trickles down and disinfects the suit from user input. So it can make it safer for the healthcare worker and make them feel more comfortable when they're treating patients. And so it was very exciting to receive a patent for that also. And I'm always still now. I'm looking actively for a company which can manufacture the design, and I would give the patent for free to them. I'm not in the business of making money on all this. Like I think that especially like this invention to help advance healthcare workers' lives and to help them do their job and protect them on the front lines. I think it's something that kind of goes beyond the idea to make a profit. So I'm looking to give the patent to any company for free which could manufacture the hazmat suit and make it so that healthcare workers, even fighting COVID now, or any other future airborne disease, can be safe.
Right. Wow. That's really impressive.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah, and actually,
so
yeah, I'm
yeah.
sorry, I forgot to comment on how it relates to my interest in film. So I think also that it relates because I always like to be creative and to think of different solutions to things. So having the creative mindset as an inventor is similar to being creative in film. So I think that creativity aspect kind of flowed from inventing to film, even though they seem like two different things, right? Like engineering and STEM is kind of different from the arts, right? But it's really not. At a fundamental level, it's all about creativity and thinking of new solutions to things. So I think that's how I would connect them.
Right. Speaking of solutions, um, have you ever used your film to like raise awareness or bring action to like important social issues? And do you have any examples?
Mhm. Yeah, sure. So the most recent film that I made, Fitting In, I kind of touched on it before, but it's also kind of a metaphor type of film, but it's social impact. So it helps people understand their individuality and pays attention to them being unique in themselves. And so I always like to make films, like you said, that bring attention to a social issue or to help improve social action in a certain area. And so it's been, a pleasure to have the film screen at different film festivals, and being at the festival and meeting with other people there. They were all talking to me about the film, how it made them realize like their unique individuality and how they don't have to fit into society or to fit a certain mold, and how they are unique in themselves. And so it's always been wonderful for me to have that reaction from people, because I'm trying to help people in any way possible. And through that particular film, through Fitting In, it was wonderful to be at festivals and to see people who resonated with the film and who got something from it. So yeah, I really like to have that sense of social action and positive social progress in all the films that I make.
Right. So impressive. I remember one thing because I was in theater last year, and one thing my like theater teacher told me was she really liked film and theater because it like through storytelling, it's like diverse perspectives, but like bring people together. So really
Yeah,
impactful.
yeah, I agree. Thank you.
On that note, let's end with some one relaxing question. So, what would you say is your favorite film of all times and why?
Oh, that's a hard one. People ask that sometimes, like, what's your favorite film? I would have to say I don't have a favorite film, and I'll explain why. I think it touches back on your idea of the diverse perspectives and how each different film has like such a unique narrative, and it has such a unique perspective on everything that it makes. So, well, I can't name a favorite one. I know there's been a lot of like great ones recently. Even before the recent theaters with Barbie movie and Oppenheimer, this was more recent. But before that, there's also Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was a wonderful movie. It won a lot of awards too. So I think all these different types of films that comment on social impact and different diverse narratives are really exciting for me, and it's always wonderful to see how well they do in reception in terms of community engagement. And I think that all the films which have these different, each unique different narratives and perspectives are really exciting to see. And I think that each film is really unique in itself. You never have one film which is the same as another one. And I think that each perspective that each film provides for audiences is just really impactful, and it kind of evokes a different emotion for each individual viewer. So one person can take something from it, another person can take something else from that movie, and it provides a diverse array of perspectives. So I think that every movie is great, but there's been a lot of really wonderful movies recently. But yeah, I think that overall, just the different diversity within film is really impactful.
Right. Thank you, Mark, so much because I feel like your impact on like everyone and especially like creating this festival is so impressive.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here today. This discussion was incredible, and I really hope to have you back again. You're really inspirational to everyone and Gen Z.
Thank you very much, Carrie. I really appreciated speaking with you. It's been a wonderful experience to speak with you, and I'm excited for the podcast. I'm thrilled that this is the first episode. I'm looking forward to listening to all the future episodes as well. So I wish you the best of luck with this project.
Yep, thank you so much. Okay, I'll stop the recording.